making our computing lives a little easier. That's been the focus of OWC for years. That's short for Other World Computing. And joining us is founder and CEO Larry O'Connor. Great to see you again, Larry.
Hey, likewise. Thanks for having me on.
Well, let's start out with a little background because it's a part of a fascinating story here. Because you got started with this at a very young age, quite some time ago. Tell me about it.
It's hard to believe it's already been 33 years, but it's been certainly enjoyable. Looking forward to a lot more ahead. But since day one, it's all been about getting the Macs from the great technology, and in particular the great Apple technology that we've got. Whether it be upgrading and servicing a system that just needs a little TLC, or having great external solutions, external drives, today docks, and far beyond. It can take the hardware that's sitting on your desk and help you go much further. That is what we do, and it's also about products that last. Not telling you that you need to replace everything you already have to switch to OWC, or providing solutions that are built in a way that they're just not going to give you the longevity. These solutions are built with care. They're built and engineered, looking at their longevity and ability to be there not just for a year or a couple of years, but for as many years as hopefully you should need them. And it's I guess a little bit different than some of the stuff that we come across out there. There's no reason for planned obsolescence. There's no reason for products to have a short lifespan. These are solutions that really are. I look at what's on my desk today. I have a Thunderbolt dock. I have actually two of our docks now because I needed some more ports. The way things have changed, but that's a dock I've been using now for about 5 years, and there's no reason why I won't be using that dock. Now, maybe there'll be a reason, but I don't currently foresee a reason why I won't be able to use that dock another 5 years from now. And that's the thing. We don't build technology that locks you into something we have right now that you might need to change later, or requires you to dump everything else you have just to start taking advantage of a better way and a better solution for the go forward.
You've helped people with the upgrades for a long time now, whether it's a new hard drive, memory, whatever is needed here. Not only helping them get the replacement parts, but actually helping with the installs too, in some ways, stepping people through.
It's information is empowerment, and we've been since day one really just kind of pulling that curtain back, saying this is what you can do, this is how you do it. And we're going to show you. Here's a video, here's instructions, and we have people, great tech folks that are available to, if you have a question, to talk you through it. And upgrades, internal is definitely where we got started. We went from internal memory and hard drives into, actually even in the early 90s, really got big into external drives. Then we began doing processor upgrades, which kind of put us into engineering, saying, well, these are great systems and they can do more with a faster processor. And today, we still support the internals, although those are a bit more complex, to say the least. Apple has reduced the opportunities for a customer to service and upgrade their machine internally. But what we can't do internally, we've absolutely taken to an external level, and also brought out great new software applications and built software solutions that help kind of tie it all together and keep that value going.
And the interesting thing here is that we've seen storage in computers seemingly shrink, at least at the low end. And it's very expensive to put more storage in when you're buying it initially. So that's opened up a lot of doors for you, I suppose, in terms of people needing more than 128 gigabytes today for videos and photos and things like that, or 256 even.
Yeah, storage goes really quick, and especially only be able to buy SSD storage internally. There's certainly a premium that's paid at the factory for that. It's nice to have. I personally wouldn't put less than 512 gig, if not 1 terabyte, in at the factory. That's just like good. You do want to have internal storage for your OS, for applications and things you use that are always going to be there. But beyond that, for even your photo library, use video, anything, certainly backup, extra storage. Being able to do that externally is a huge, not just a huge money saver, it's a huge time saver. When it's time to buy a new machine, if you put a 4 terabyte drive inside your Mac, it's going to go with that Mac, and that's all that data has got to be transferred. If you're using an external Thunderblade, external Envoy, something, and that could be still for what you're doing, it's going to give you the same perceived performance. The new, I mean, again, what Apple's doing internally, 7,000 megs a second on these SSDs is amazing. It's just not a whole lot of applications use all of that. And with external solutions hitting 3,000-4,000 megs a second, 2,000-3,000, I guess I should say, sustained, not just burst, which is some of the internal systems more of a burst versus a sustained. Running your photo library externally is imperceptible versus running it internally. And when you do move to a new system in a few years, plug that array and plug it into your new system, and it's all there. There's conveniences like that come with the value, and you get money savings up front, and you get the ability to move to a new system later. And heck, actually, one other important thing to me is being able to move that same drive between different systems that you may have right now at the same time, and be able to share that data, move data very quickly and efficiently to that drive if you need to move between systems. All sorts of good reasons. And I give one more. If your computer with that 4 terabyte drive fails in 2 or 3 years, hopefully it isn't the case, the expense of replacing it is rather substantial because of the SSD. And you're also paying a premium today for a larger SSD. I mean, SSDs, NVMe in general will continue to come down over time. There's, I wasn't prepared. I could probably talk much more eloquently if I kind of outlined the step by step, but there's all sorts of benefits by, certainly minimizing internal storage to a reasonable level and having good external storage for both additional needs, real-time needs, and having a budget that goes to your backup. The only thing that I absolutely suggest everybody maximize in these systems where the memory is soldered, would be the memory. Do not skimp on memory. You can't upgrade any. Today's Apple Silicon machines are all soldered. I mean, it's all silicon on chip memory placement. You should really get, certainly if I'd personally recommend, if not 1632, and then of course, if you can use 64, if you believe long-term you have applications that benefit from more memory, you got to buy it with the machine, or you have to buy a new machine. Machines that are upgradable still, by all means, we're happy to save a lot there, upgrading with OWC. But where you can definitely plug and play external storage, it's going to give you what you want. Don't mess around with memory. In fact, having less memory now than you need or should or may need in the future is even an impact to its resale value. The machines that do the best are the machines that have the higher levels of memory factory or this one factory soldered, factory present.
Great advice. On the external storage front, you've got some new stuff out there that's pretty terrific. First is the Mercury Elite Pro Mini. Give us a little overview of what you're doing here, because you're giving people lots of options with this.
Yeah, we've always maintained options, and it's actually something we have discussion. Why do we have so many drives? And it's really different needs for different people. The Elite Mini still provides SSD as well as spinning hard drive options. Hard drives, certainly as you get used to an SSD, I mean, it's like going back to dial-up compared to being on broadband for applications, but for backup and other needs, there's really nothing more cost-effective than a physical hard drive. And even for audio and video editing work, an array of drives in a Thunderbay or a Thunderbay 8. I don't know why I kind of just a little bit on hard drives when you combine multiple drives together. Today's drives are faster, quieter, and much higher I/O per second than drives from every couple of years. There's been big leaps in hard drives. So even for high end, these hard drives still have an absolute space where you're just not going to have 96 terabytes of SSD on most people's budgets. Certainly not my budget. So hard drives absolutely have a place, and the Elite Mini gives you options for either. Anybody who's traveling a lot, absolutely recommend doing an SSD based solution, just from the point of view that you can drop an SSD and nothing's really going to happen to it. I mean, there's no risk of damage, whereas a hard drive would make, even when it's on, dropping an SSD is not going to do anything. There's no moving parts. But a hard drive spinning, if it takes a hit, you do run some risks there. Fixed in your bag, you're pretty safe. Drives park, and they're designed to be rugged. But it's just a safety point. If it's something that's being used on the go, an SSD makes a good option. And the Elite Pro Mini gives you some pretty good price points for a variety of different needs.
Well, you start out, you can go from 0, putting your own drives in, up to 4 terabytes. So
And the 0 gig is a great way if you're migrating from an older system. Anything 2012 or earlier that's going to have the 2016 13-inch MacBook Pro. You can pop your drive out of that computer, throw it into the Elite Mini, and connect it to your new Mac. Which is,
you talked about before the hubs that you have, and the latest Thunderbolt hub really gives people flexibility that they're not going to get with the machine as it's sold to you. Let's put it that way.
the hub, between our Thunderbolt and all of our docks, are kind of, you can pick kind of a dock that's right size for you. If you just need a lot of USB ports, you want the audio and the reader, our Thunderbolt 14 port dock is still, a flagship dock that is in huge demand. If you're somebody who needs, more Thunderbolt ports, you don't need the USBs and the other stuff. You just need more Thunderbolt ports. Our Thunderbolt hub is the very first solution that lets you connect more Thunderbolts. You plug in the one port, it gives you 3. It also gives you 3 chains, to where you can have not just 6 total devices plugged into one of your Mac ports. Now you can plug 6 of actually technically another 5 devices into each of the 3 ports it gives you the chain from, and all those ports are also powered. Maybe you have bus power Thunderbolt. Now you have 3 ports you can plug a portable bus power drive into. All sorts of flexibility you can't get from the main system. Really, for years, and we looked at all sorts of ways to bring something sooner. We were glad to be able to work with Intel on, with a solution that was fully supported, fully mandated, to bring additional Thunderbolt ports out, because this is something that has been asked for since the very first Mac with Thunderbolt ports. Can we have a hub? We have a dock with more ports, and then we have our Thunderbolt 4 11 port dock, which gives you not just some USBs and audio in out, as well as Ethernet, but also gives you, just like the hub, it gives you, 1 Thunderbolt in and 3 Thunderbolt ports out. So you end up with extra Thunderbolt ports through that solution as well. And all these docks I just talked about fully power your laptop as well. So it's, it's on my desk, and when I go on the road, my AC adapter is already in my bag, because when I'm home, my laptop's on my desk plugged into my Thunderbolt dock.
Terrific. And while you started out as being a Mac centric, I suppose, now you support a wide range of machines, right?
We've always supported, it's kind of funny. When we installed our ERP, our first major, accounting system back in 2001, it had unfortunately be on the PC. There just was not a solution that was Mac. Now, we use Macs. All of our team uses Macs, and they use Terminal. So we're using Macs for all the benefits that Mac gives, and then the server in the back room is, runs on the PC side. But these folks would constantly say, we just don't have stuff like this in the Windows side. And building to what it takes to really build a product right for Apple, typically in the majority of cases provides on average a solution that is far better than that typically you find on the PC side. Now, we've supported these solutions for years on the PC side, but we've become certainly, I guess, we've recognized more that we have customers that are using both Mac and PC, and some of the things that used to be Mac only, like SoftRaid, now we have SoftRaid for Windows. And the thing about SoftRaid for Windows, it doesn't just give you what you have on the Mac with SoftRaid. It gives you interoperability of your SoftRaid volumes on a Mac. So if you're using one of our Thunder Bay or any of our solutions for SoftRaid on your Macintosh, and you go to plug it in on a PC, whether it's APFS or HFS Plus format, Apple's 2, standard file systems, you can now plug it into a Windows machine with SoftRaid, and those volumes mount, and you can now you can read, write, operate it completely normally, and you can move it back to your Mac and continue to use it as well. So you can even use, bottom line is you can use our products on both platforms, and it's much easier now to interchange data between the two. We absolutely manufacture and design first for Apple, but again, maintaining the like I say, the quality and the design and just the requirements to provide a solution on the Apple platform, really gives us some exceptional solutions that PC folks also absolutely can benefit and enjoy, and we've got the right support for those workflows as well.
And you mentioned design. You've been paying attention to that for a long time. A great design with your product line. Tell me, before we let you go, the supply chain, how difficult things have been for you.
I have to give a lot of thanks and gratitude to our logistics team. This year could have been very, very different if we didn't have a great team that was on top of everything. But it's been, it's been quite a well. I look forward to things being a little bit easier. I mean, it's the amount of energy and effort that's gone in just to maintaining baseline supplies this year. We always were ahead of the curve, but we had to become much further ahead of the curve. And it was interesting. We learned early that our manufacturing partners, we bring in a lot of the chipsets that we need. I mean, we control those chipsets for a number of different licensing reasons. We use them in multiple products, and they're long lead time type of. So there's things that we've always managed, but there's other things we got into managing this year because despite some of the more complex parts, we find that learning some manufacturers. I mean, if it didn't need to be built until May, they were still operating on and just basic parts. I mean, little resistors and capacitors, things that weren't real specialty. They were ordering just like they did before things got tight and got interesting. And suddenly we'd have a penny part holding up, a much more expensive solution. So the entire supply chain, whether it be on the shipping side, dealing with really expensive and far longer delivery times by ocean, substantially increased air and even delays in air. I mean, sometimes today you'll pay for an air shipment and it's still 3 weeks. You're going to pay 5x what it was a year ago, and it's still 3 weeks for delivery. So our team has done a great job adjusting to a lot of interesting and unpredictable events out there. We've had to shift a lot more of the component buying to our own team, and we designed the products, we know what they take, and have gone much further and put a lot more investment out to have components available so that it isn't a nickel part or a $1 part or a $5 part that holds up a solution. The biggest products, most important products that were unfortunately impacted this year were mostly our newer products because we had no previous run on them and thus had not built up had those orders in place really 18 months ago, because product, even things that were ordered, and this is the hardest thing, you place an order today and you're told there's a 20-week lead time or a 24-week lead time for a particular component. When that manufacturer, that chipset supplier comes back 6 weeks later, or sometimes 20 weeks later, right before they're supposed to be delivering, and says, well, now it's a 52-week lead time. Those are things that are difficult to unfortunately accommodate. So once we get into roll, we're in a position where next year will be far better. And the other thing our team was real good at, I mean, where we had to, whether it's spot buys, they're going into the market, working, I have to say, good. We have a good partnership with Intel, which was very positive on some of the chipsets dependent on Thunderbolt solutions. No issues with Intel and Thunderbolt chipsets. It's more the parts around it. But we're really happy that we're delivering Thunderbolt hubs and docks right now, just on the basis that there's a lot of complicated chipsets that interact in those solutions, and it's been pretty crazy logistically bringing all those components together. The amount of energy that has gone into supply chain this year is beyond anything I would have imagined. And the best part, I have to see the silver lining, and the silver lining is as things do improve, and I do believe certainly by this time next year, hopefully by summer next year, there'll be substantial improvements in how things are flowing, with what we've learned and what we've been able to do in rather more complex circumstances, should allow us to be more efficient and agile when it goes to normal times. But if this was 5 years ago and this had happened, in terms of how we were able to operate then, from a complex element, who we had effectively outsourced our logistics to back at that point in time, it would have been very, very different, to say the least.
And I imagine COVID has been kind of a double-edged sword for you too, because so many people needing machines upgraded and more storage in a home office, as well as still having some office environments. Yeah, I guess sales have been good that way, but I don't know how it's been for your workforce.
Yeah, COVID, COVID drove, us to do for the first time a big work from home contingent. We dabbled with work from home, but it was literally within 2 weeks' time, we went to being roughly 70% work from home, from being about 5% work from home at any given point. And by and large, it's worked out real well. We were ready for it. Thankfully, all the equipment literally was take it home, plug it in, and we'll activate the VPN, and now your phones and your technology works remote. But it certainly was an adjustment. And the other aspect is less so on on our side, but in addition to everything else going on logistically, every other month there's a delay because there's been a COVID outbreak, in this area, so this factory has to shut down, or this chipset supplier has shut their lines down because they're being quarantined, or the government has imposed a shutdown. These are things that could never imagine. And I do, hopefully Omicron is mild like the cold, and we can get past a point where COVID is a great fear. It's not going to go away. I don't think vaccines are necessarily going to be the be all end all to COVID. And ultimately, we just need to get through this phase. Whether vaccines are making a big difference, certainly. Different natural immunity, I think, will play, and hopefully this thing evolves into something that will prevent the next every reaction to a new whatever being a lockdown, because we're not going to beat it that way, I don't believe. But it's certain however we beat it, however we get past it, I look forward to being past it, because it's a scary thing, for a lot of people, and rightfully so. And it's certainly impactful in many, many ways. And the things that we deal with they're technology. It's an inconvenience if you can't get a dock. It's certainly not necessarily gonna, it might ruin your day, but not to the degree of a supply chain breakdown in food or medicine or other essential goods. And that's my biggest concern, how close we are with supply chain to the essentials that we need, as opposed to these, well, I won't call them necessarily non-essentials, but certainly less essentials.
Terrific, Larry. So for more info on the products, the best place is owcdigital.com.
You can go to OWC.com. This is our new website. That kind of gives you a directory today. In another few weeks, it's going to be substantially enhanced. But you can go to macsales.com, OWC.com, or certainly OWCdigital.com has got information. But I started OWC.com. It's got an overview of the different units, different things we're involved with, and it's pretty. I think it's pretty enlightening. But wherever you go, again, we appreciate you using our solutions. We have lots of good channel partners. Us direct anywhere. Thank you for using our product, and we know why we're here, and we look forward to continue being here for you.
Well, congratulations on the innovations, Larry O'Connor. Thanks for taking the time with us.
Hey, always a pleasure, Fred. Thank you. Thank you for your time here as well.
Now this. It takes a lot of listening to build a better radio, and that's just what the folks at C. Crane have done. Bob Crane and his crew, nestled among the rivers and tallest trees in the world in Fortuna, California, have made a habit of listening to their customers. And that's just what they've done in building the CC Skywave SSB, the Swiss Army knife of portable radios. For everyday listening to AM or FM in the yard or patio or on the nightstand, without having to drain a mobile phone battery, it's a great companion. But it is also a companion equipped for NOAA weather information and alerts that can be life-saving. You can listen to FEMA and Coast Guard transmissions too. Beyond all of that, you can tune into shortwave signals from around the world. It's compact, easy to take with you, and built to last. The CC Skywave SSB. Click on the link at Techstination.com.